Time now for Sid 6-0. This is where I get 60 seconds to talk about anything. Start the clock, please. Here's what's on my mind this morning. NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman is smart. Graduate of both Cornell University and the New York University School of Law. He's a lawyer, and most of the time it served him well. But when a story like the Chicago Blackhawks sexual abuse cover-up story arises, he shows all the emotion of a coffee table. Bettman spoke yesterday for the first time since it broke. There was very little empathy for the victim, Kyle Beach. He did apologize to Beach publicly, but he also said the league first heard about this story in December of last year and were fine with their reaction. He argued Chicago's $2 million fine was adequate. Blackhawks, as a franchise, by the way, are worth over $1 billion. He then said that he hadn't reached out to abuse victim Sheldon Kennedy for advice on how to handle this because, quote, Sheldon's experience was not at the NHL level, end quote. Gary Bettman is smart. Some of what he said yesterday was no. And I don't know how else to say that. Donnovan Bennett of Sportsnet is joining us. This was an hour-long press conference. Bill Daley, Deputy Commissioner, was there as well. Donnovan, I never leave a Gary Bettman press conference under circumstances anywhere close to this with a good feeling. Did you?
No. And it was a continuation from the last press conference he had about this issue in the summer, where his tone was almost a bit defiant. A couple things, and you hit it on the head. First, stop saying what may or may not have happened. I know that's lawyer speech, but believing in survivors is important. So at this point, we know what happened. We've had an investigation that told us what happened. He was asked by Rick Westhead, who's done a lot of great reporting around this, if they were willing to support the victim, who was a high school player in Michigan, who was assaulted 3 years after this happened in the NHL by the same person. And he waffled on the question, saying that he needed to understand the facts. We understand that he's been convicted of sexual assault. He's a registered sex offender. And the Blackhawks covered this up, allowing him to continue to do this. What else do we need to understand at this point? And you mentioned this summer, he recently, said that he learned of it in December of 2020. What's the sexual abuse protocol? What's the policy? Is there one? He claims there is. What is it? How is it possible that you could just hear from the Blackhawks that they said it's baseless? Based off of what? Wouldn't you want to do your own investigation to find out? Which brings us to, and thank you for bringing it up, don't you think maybe Sheldon Kennedy's experience on this issue, talking to millions of people, changing the culture around sexual assault in not only his sport, but sports, broadly speaking, to multi-million-dollar corporations, he needs to be sexually abused at the NHL level to understand what sexual abuse does? All of this, for someone who you claimed is very smart, seems to be incredibly short-sighted. Wouldn't you want more voices, more people at the table? Because you clearly, as a group, got this wrong. So I struggle to understand how you find the Blackhawks $2 million, you find the Devils $3 million for their use of the salary cap incorrectly. This was not a breakdown in protocol. This was a breakdown in priority, and it can't happen again.
I know a closing line when I hear it. Donnovan Bennett from Sportsnet. Appreciate you, man. You have some emails coming in. You got to deal with it. You're a busy guy. Have a good day.